A 112-101 victory in game number 80 for the San Antonio Spurs. They earn win number 61. This one coming over the Portland Trail Blazers. 31 wins at home, and there's a look at how many 61 ranks amongst the most wins in a season in Spurs history. It's the most that this franchise has seen since the 2016-2017 season. In that season, they happened to go to the Western Conference Finals. Thanks so much for joining us here on Spurs Live, the post-game. That's TJ Ford. I'm Michelle Montaigne, and we were just treated to a very fun, very good, and solid 61st win of the season. And the fact that they did it without their stars, and Victor Wembanyama, and Stephon Castle, just shows you how deep this team really is.
Yeah, we just showed our depth at the bench position of guys being able to come in and be very, very productive. Dylan Harper was able to get his second win as a starter. De'Aaron Fox was able to come out and kind of just establish ourselves of what the game was going to be like by his presence. And we was able to kind of establish that from the beginning all the way to the end there.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox leading the team in scoring with 25 points. We told you before the game that he averages about 25 in the games that Wemby's not available, and he did it yet again tonight.
You look at De'Aaron Fox, he's scoring so many different ways. You see him in transition. You see him be able to get pull-up threes and being able to go off the bounce and get to the mid-range and shoot a floater. When De'Aaron Fox is scoring at all different levels of being able to have the ball in his hand, also being able to spot up and hit threes. When he's attacking and getting in the paint, this team here is bringing a different dynamic.
That's a team high 7 assists out of the Fox. You see the 5 rebounds that he added as well. And he had 3 steals, 3 of the team's 13 steals. Swipa was swiping tonight. It goes back to the fact that the defensive presence from everyone, 1 through 5 on this team, and really 1 through the rest of the bench whenever they're on the floor. I mean, it is so important. They hang their hat on defense, and obviously the scoring necessary. De'Aaron Fox doing his part there as well. But you have to mention his defense tonight, too.
Well, his defense was great. You got 3 steals. But when you look at just being able to adapt, I think that's one of the things this ball club has been great at being able to do, with guys in and out of the lineup, with different rotations and different philosophies from game to game. Being more small ball tonight and being able to keep Portland off the glass was an excellent job of being able to take one of the best offensive rebounding teams in this.
What's up, everybody? We are back. And today we are watching ESPN, Nicole, Kendrick Perkins, and the crew. They're talking about the Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. And the headline is brutal. Wemby can kiss Defensive Player of the Year and MVP dreams goodbye. Let me set the scene. The Spurs beat the Trailblazers 112-101. Without Victor Wembanyama. Without Stephon Castle. Didn't matter. De'Aaron Fox was a one-man show to start the game. He capped off a 10-0 run all by himself. Finished with 25 points. Keldon Johnson had 20. Rookie Carter Bryant had 17. The role players stepped up. The Spurs had no issues. But that's not the story. The story is Wemby's rib injury. He's missed 16 games this season. He needs to play 20 minutes in one of the Spurs' final 2 games to be eligible for postseason awards. If he doesn't, then goodbye DPOY. Goodbye MVP dreams. Just like that. Now, the 65-game rule is complicated. And the host, Nicole, broke it down perfectly. Any game under 15 minutes doesn't count. You can have 2 games between 15 and 20 minutes, but if you do it a third time, that doesn't count either. The NBA Cup Final counts as a game for award minimums, but the stats from that game don't count. They literally never happened. It's like you played, but you didn't. It's a mess. And then there's Cade Cunningham. He's in the same boat. Missed 11 games with a collapsed lung. Diving for a loose ball. That's not load management. That's a freak injury. And he's going to miss out on All-NBA because of it. So here's what Perk said. And I need you to listen carefully. He said, "It's a shame that guys like Cade Cunningham have come out and competed at his highest level, went out with an injury, and now he's suffering from it. But he's suffering because of what people done before him. Like the San Antonio Spurs and Greg Popovich when they came with load management." That's the key. The NBA didn't create this rule because of injuries. They created it because of load management. Because teams were sitting healthy superstars on national TV. Because fans were paying $500 for tickets and watching third stringers. The Spurs, ironically, were one of the teams that started it. Popovich resting Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili on random Tuesday nights in Milwaukee. That's why we have this rule. And now the Spurs' own superstar might be the biggest victim of it. Perk said he believes Wemby will play one of the last 2 games because he's come out publicly and said he wants to win MVP. And he should. And Perk guaranteed that Wemby doesn't want to miss out on Defensive Player of the Year because he's getting Perk's vote. But here's the problem. Even if Wemby plays, he's not 100%. A rib contusion that affects his breathing is serious. Is it worth risking his health for an award? The Spurs have the 2 seed locked up. They have championship aspirations. If Wemby aggravates that injury in a meaningless regular season game, the entire season is over. And here's where I land. The rule is the rule. Perk said it was put in place for the fans, so that superstars aren't sitting out road games when people pay their hard-earned money to watch them compete. And I agree with that. But there has to be an appeal process for extenuating circumstances. A collapsed lung. A rib contusion from a hard fall. Those aren't load management. Those are real injuries. Cade Cunningham shouldn't be punished because the Spurs rested Tim Duncan a decade ago. The host mentioned that players can appeal. But it seems like you need to hire a lawyer to get through all of it. And Cade himself said, "I'm hearing all this stuff about exceptions. I don't know how all that stuff works. I'll just keep doing my job day by day." That's a superstar being humble. But it's also a superstar being failed by the system. Now, let's talk about the Pistons really quickly because Perk had an interesting take. He said the Pistons are not the team to beat in the East, that's the Celtics. But they are knocking at the door. And he called Cade's injury a blessing in disguise because it allowed other guys to gain confidence. Jalen Duran featured more on offense. Duncan Robinson had 20 points. The Pistons are a nasty defensive team. The question is whether they can score enough outside of Cade. And right now, they're trending in the right direction. But back to Wemby. Here's my concern. The Spurs have nothing to play for in the final 2 games. They're the 2 seed. Home court is locked. Wemby's health is more important than any award. But Wemby wants MVP. He wants DPOY. He's competitive. He's said publicly that he wants to win those awards. So what do the Spurs do? Do they risk their franchise player for 20 minutes of garbage time? Or do they sit him, protect him, and let the chips fall where they may? If I'm the Spurs, I sit him. Awards are nice. Championships are better. And this Spurs team has a real chance. They just proved they can win without him. De'Aaron Fox is playing at an all-NBA level. The bench is deep. The rookies are contributing. They're not a one-man team. So why risk it? But Wemby might not see it that way. He's 21. He's competitive. He wants the hardware. And if he pushes to play, the Spurs might let him. That's the danger. A player shouldn't have to choose between his health and his legacy. But that's exactly where the 65-game rule puts him. Here's my question for you. Should Wemby play one of the final 2 games to secure his awards, or should the Spurs sit him and prioritize the playoffs? And should the NBA change the 65-game rule to allow exceptions for freak injuries? Drop a comment. Let me know. And if you want more of these breakdowns, hit that like button and subscribe. We are building something real here. I'll see you in the next one.